I think we may need to initiate a WhatsApp group call because some people may have logged on and
If you have not come,
missed it.
no,
No, they've been on the call waiting, so maybe they are not.
I've sent message to them.
Okay.
So let's start now. Today we'll be looking at the lead the project team. Yeah, you are to lead a project team. You know, if you remember last week we talked about planning, and you remember that I said before you can start your project work, it is very crucial and very essential for us to plan. That is why we talked about plan last week. If you look at our project management process, when we look at the that we should when you initiate a project, after you have initiated the project, the next thing you will do is to plan the project. Last week we talked about different kind of planning. We plan our budget, we plan our time, that's our schedule. We plan how we are going to communicate with stakeholder, how we are going to engage with stakeholder, how we are going to collaborate with stakeholder. We talk about how do you plan risk. We talk about risk assessment, and under those planning, all those planning we are planning. Communication, we plan communication, we plan um, resources. We did a lot of planning. That is, we are trying to itemize and document what we are going to do when we are going to be executing the project work. That is what we discussed last week. So we talk about a lot of planning, and we said that in our processes, after we have done the planning, the next thing to do is to what, to execute our project work. And in executing project work, it involved this the project manager, the team member, and some of the key stakeholders that you are trying to engage with. So, but it is not in executing that project, there must be a leader, and that is a project manager. So that's why we are talking about lead the project team. What are the things you are going to do? What are the qualities you need to have? What are the characteristics of a person who will lead the project team? Because it is when you are executing the project, you are going to lead the project team. You cannot lead the project team when you are still doing maybe initiating or trying to plan the work, trying to document or itemize and put in place or in paper the thing you are going to do when you are going to be executing the project. You do less leading. That's what I mean. So in this one, we are going to learn about the characteristics of a person that will lead a project team. A project leader, what are the characteristics he should have? What are the leadership skills the person should be able to hone or have? What is he going to do in terms of collaborating when in a project team environment? How does he empower the team that is leading? You understand me? Those are most of the things we are going to be learning here. How do you empower the team you'll be leading? How do you support the team member performance? Because you need to assess and validate the performance of the team. How do you know that they are doing very well? How do you assess it? As the project is progressing, how are you sure that what you have assigned to each of the team member in their respective area of specialization, they are doing it, and how do you know that they are doing it is by trying to assess it and look at the progress. That's what I mean, and validate what they are doing. So you empower them. How do you empower them? Because you should be able to empower your team member. Empower them in that as a leader, it is not everything you have to tell them, do this, do this, do this one. You allow them to be self-organized. We talk about it in a strong methodology. You say your team member is a team member that are self-organized, cross-functional team and self-organized team. So that means you have empowered them. You don't just control them anyhow. You facilitate them. You allow them to make decisions that will help them to be able to do their work in most efficient manner. Also, when you're saying you're empowering them, it means that you are creating environment for them to be able to execute the work that has been assigned to them, to be able to execute the activity that have been assigned to them. So anything that can be a problem or challenges or any impediment or any distraction, you move it out of their way. And you also, part of the empowerment is that you want to give them the tools, the right tools, to work with. Because when you say you empower somebody, you give him power to do certain thing, you should give him also the authority to make use of the resources that's available for the project. You should be able to supply all the necessary resources that will help the person to be able to accomplish the task assigned to that person. That's empowerment. You allow them to make decision because they are the one who are going to do the work of the project. The team member are the people who are going to perform the activities of the project. So you need to empower them by giving them the what they need, clear the environment for them, any impediment, anything whatsoever that will not allow them to be efficient in carrying out in the work of the project. You put it out of their way. Those are the characteristics of a leader. As a project manager, those are the things you need to put into consideration. Empower the team. You support the team member performance. Very, very important. This is the key area because this is where the work of the project is being done. The activities of the project is being performed. All the resources that you plan before, like human resources, non-human resources, the time you are going to use to assign to a particular task, and many other things that you are planning. This is why you are going to bring into play. They must play out here. The communication you have planned before, because it is when you are executing the project, you need to communicate. You don't communicate when the project is not work, it's not on. It is when two people, three people, the team come together, then you communicate information, you communicate idea. You understand me? You make use of the planning in your communication, all the technology you put in place, you begin to use them, especially if your team member are not in the same geographical area. They are not co-located team member. Therefore, this is why you're going to activate all those planning in terms of communication. When you are talking about risk assessment, because it is when you are doing the project you will know whether the risk is about to occur. This is where you are going to make sure that planning you've done in the risk. This is where you are going to say, okay, the risk that you have identified, the risk that you have documented, the risk that you have categorized, risk breakdown structure, the risk that you are trying to assess, that you are trying to do assessment of the risk, like say mathematically or just using a defined way you know how to do it. The response strategy, the monitoring of the risk. This is when you are leading the team that all those things come into play. When you're analyzing the risk, we talked about it before. When you're analyzing your risk, you can analyze your risk in two ways. So you can do numerical analysis or or the other types of analysis. You understand me? At least everybody should know about two types of analysis. Who can remind us of the say if you want to analyze the risk that can occur in your project, so that if it occur, how does it affect your project work? Can you tell me two types of risk analysis?
Qualitative and quantitative.
Quantitative and qualitative.
Good. Quantitative risk analysis is if you are using number, you are using mathematics, you are using statistics, you are using numerical value to assess, to determine the effect of that risk on your project work. When you are doing qualitative risk analysis, you are qualifying it based on your experience in a past project you have done before. If it's a fire incident, you know that okay, this fire incident, if I want to I want to analyze this, um, I need to qualify. Say this risk when it comes to fire, we all know the nature of fire, characteristics of a fire. When it occur, it can work very fast. It can damage something very fast. So when I'm going to um, qualify it, at least based on my experience about fire, I can say this risk is high. The probability that it's going to occur is about 0.9, 90%. And that the damage it may bring into my project can be so huge. So those are the things we talk about. Those are the things you did when you are planning. So it is when you are now leading the project team that and the team are doing the work. You are the project manager who is leading a team who are going to do the activities and the work of the project. It is then that this analysis you have done in terms of your risk come to play. So communicate and collaborate with stakeholder. This is when you are going to communicate with them. All the communication plan you have done, communication management plan, you say, okay, how am I going to communicate? Who am I going to communicate with? When will I communicate? Who should receive communication? Who should do the communication? What kind of communication will I communicate? What kind of communication technology will I use? If my team member are not in the same geographical area, how do I communicate to them? Then you need to remember that I need to put in place all the technology that can allow me and facilitate effective and efficient communication with my team member who are not in the same geographical area. That is what we have done in the previous training. You should know the communication preference of the each of the your team member or the key stakeholder.
Stakeholders.
Somebody will tell you that, okay, you cannot get me on phone. You have done documentation of all those things. You can only get me on telephone so time. You can get me. You can only email me. You can get me on instant message. You can get me on WhatsApp. All those things you will have documented them. So when you want to communicate to that person, because it is when you are doing the work of the project now, there's a need for you to get some information from the key stakeholder or any member. You now go to the record and say, okay, this person told me that I cannot communicate with him on phone. Or if I want to communicate with him on phone, I cannot communicate with him during the night. It could be between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Those things you have documented, it will be easier for you now if you want to do that kind of communication to know the communication preference of that person. If you communicate outside that person or you are using another platform, you may not get the person and it's going to frustrate your work. You can see the way the thing is flowing. So these are the things that are going to be inside your communication plan. So when you're now executing the work of the project, you now go to that plan and say, okay, this is the way I say I will communicate in this place. How do I communicate? What method will I use? What technology will I use? How will I communicate? Who will communicate? Who will not receive communication? That is information. All the communication information that I want to communicate, how do I make sure that the right person have access to it? The person who is not supposed to receive that communication should not have access to it. How do you keep your communication? How do you preserve? How do you make sure that some information, important information, is not leaked out to the people who are not supposed to have access to them? That thing you have done, it is now here you are going to use them. Now you also know that when you are leading your team, you may discover during the process of why you are doing the work of the project, you discover there's a need for you that their skill level is so low, and you want to enhance their skill level. You want to enhance their capacity to be able to do work. So you may be subjecting training to them. There are different ways you can train them. It can be coaching, it can be training, it can be assigning them to somebody who is more skillful than them to understand what they are doing. It can be mentoring them. All those things you are going to do it there. And you have also said that when you are managing the work of the project, people are going to do the work of the project. There's the probability or there's high likelihood that there may be conflict. And how do you manage the conflict? How do you manage the team? How do you manage the conflict? How do you do what they call conflict resolution? Because if you don't know how to do all these things we are going to learn here today, you see, it can damage your project. You will discover that it will frustrate you and you will not be able to meet your project objectives. You will waste resources, you will waste in time, you waste you will not be able to meet the deadlines that you have established when you plan. There are going to be a lot of risk. You can make mistake. That is why it's good for you to plan before you start executing the project. So what we are looking here, our learning objective is that we discuss the guidelines for developing leadership, competencies and skills. You should have a skill of leadership skill, competence, because you want to lead people. If you don't have all those skills in personal, interpersonal skill and all other skill too, you will not be able to lead a team that can perform very well. You will not be able to have a high performing team. High performing team are productive team. I want to repeat it again. High performing team are the productive team. They will help you to accomplish the project objectives. They will help you to accomplish the project tasks. They will help you to be able to drive your project in such a way that the project will come out successfully. So if you don't have that leadership skill, you will not be able to achieve your project goal. And if you don't achieve it, you know what it means. The implication of a project leader, a stakeholder, as a project manager, you are not able to accomplish your project objectives. It has a greater implication. You should know how to address address leadership style. We are different kind of leadership styles, but even though you have a specific leadership style, you should be able to look at your team member, which kind of leadership style that can suit them. And the component of leading a successful team, either in person or virtually. If it's in person, that your team member you can see face to face. There's a style you are going to use to lead them. If your team member they are not in same geographical area, they are not co-located, which is a virtual team, how do you lead them? There are different ways that you should know. That's what a project manager should have in mind. Those are the skills he's supposed to possess. You don't just lead any team anyhow. If you don't do all these things, the likelihood of succeeding in your project is so trim, lean. Then you know how to describe the artifacts and the strategies for their use. Artifacts are the documents, are the and things that you created while you are doing the work of the project. How do you describe it? How do you communicate it to your team member, key stakeholder in terms of maybe report you are giving unto them? So artifacts. What are the strategies to use those artifacts? Anything you created, anything you created while you are doing the work of the project is called artifact. It could be in form of a document. It could be in form of a producing particular thing. It could be in form of a deliverable. It could be in form of a partial deliverable. It could be in form of increment. It could also become the total part of the product. Then you should also need to identify the characteristics and core functions of empowered team. Empowered teams are productive team, are excellent team, are team that can be able to be more productive. They will help you to be able to achieve and accomplish your project objectives. So you must know how to empower them, give them the right suit to work, right tools, right technology, right instrument, right equipment. You understand me? Not only that one, empower them also mean that you don't need to lord it over them. You facilitate them. Even in the meeting, you facilitate. You don't lord over them. You don't command them, do this, do that. That is why agile and scrum is one of the effective way methodology that can help you to be able to work well with your team member. You just facilitate them. You are not going to do the work. You are only leading them. So you just facilitate them, allow them to make decisions by themselves that will favor them, that will help them to be able to do the work so that it can be a productive team. So you provide all those environments, a suitable environment, conducive environment for them to work successfully and efficiently. You don't expect your team member, maybe they are doing they are in a particular location, maybe in a co-location area, they want to do meeting. The place is so hot, it's not conducive for them. The resources to use is not there. You understand me? Environment is not conducive. Where they are not supposed to be noise, there's a noise. I think you get what I'm talking about. You have to produce provide a conducive environment, provide right instrument, right tool, right technology, effective communication. You understand me? All those things you must provide. You also need to explain strategy and form of communication for collaborating. Whenever you see team working together, one thing is that they will communicate. And one of the way you can use to communicate well is to collaborate well is to what? To be to communicate. Communication starts from the beginning of your project to the end. In fact, for you to succeed in your project work and to be able to collaborate and work together as a collaborative team and enhanced team and a productive team and a team that can produce good results, you need to be able to communicate effectively. It's very, very important. It's very, very essential. You should understand this. When you say you are collaborating, it means that your team member they cooperate, they work in unity, they jointly work together. You are able to pull them together. I mean to work jointly with other to achieve a specific task, specific work to achieve a common goal. We say that collaboration is partnership or a union or the act of producing or making or bringing out good results. You understand me? So that is why it's very important. Communication is very essential. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, that means if you don't know how to communicate information, idea, or document, or your report way in your project work, the likelihood of succeeding is very low. Also, when you are leading your project team, sometimes when you project your team are working, you must have a way of assessing their work. Look at what they are doing. Are they doing it well? If you discover that the way they are doing it is not according to what they're going to do, that means you need to solve it. It shows that their skill level is low. When you match their skill level to the work they are doing is so low, one of those things you can do is to suggest training. You can coach them, you can mentor them. Training, coaching, and mentoring for your team member to improve their skill, to improve their capacity, so that they can be able to be an effective and productive team. Very important. You can assign somebody, one of your team member, who is less skillful, that have a little skill. You can match it in with a team member who is skillful. He can study what he's doing. You can do a personal coaching. You can mentor. You can train, and the training can be in any form. It can be classroom training. It can be giving me to go and study something online. It can be any kind of training. Come and watch this video. So all those things are very important when you are leading your team. You have to explain the importance of conflict management. It's a team nature. Conflict is a team nature. In fact, if you have a team member who there's no conflict, you should be looking whether they are really doing the right thing. Because in fact, conflict has its advantages. That means that if there's a conflict, it means that not all the team, they are not just going in one way. When you say somebody say one way, that means there's no creativity, there's no innovation. Nobody is challenging anything. We are only going one way. Maybe we are going the wrong way. Everybody will just going the wrong way. Somebody is leading us to a ditch. Everybody just fall into that ditch. But that is where the advantage of conflict. When there's a conflict, there must be something that people are complaining about. Why you are not agreeing? To be more creative and innovative, there must be conflict. But even if there's a conflict, you must know the sources of the conflict, the nature of the conflict, the effect of the conflict in your project activity, and how can you successfully manage the conflict. We call it conflict resolution, conflict management. Because if you don't know how to still manage the conflict, it can damage your project. It will not be that damage mean that you will not be able to achieve your project objectives. You'll be wasting resources, wasting time, mix the deadline, mix the resources, rework, and all these things will not favor you. That's why PMI say you should be a strategic project manager. You should also be able to make decision 5 steps ahead, so that if anything happen, you will be able to provide solution to that problem. Not a reactive project manager. You should be a proactive project manager. It is when you are leading, your level of proactivity should be very high. Proactive means that nothing should catch you unaware. Nothing in your project work, well, in terms of communication, in terms of getting resources for your team member, in terms of risk assessment, in terms of your scope of work, in terms of your budget, in terms of your schedule, in terms of how you are going to relate with the stakeholder. Do you understand me? In terms of how you are going to handle your vendor, nothing should catch you unaware, because you have done the necessary planning so that you can easily execute the work of the project. You are going to discuss the causes and level of conflict. There are causes of conflict. There are root causes of conflict. There are different levels of conflict, and what are the outcomes of a conflict, and how can you successfully manage a conflict in your team setting. So you should do that one. We talk about the power skill. Remember that a project professional use interpersonal power skills. That triangle we talked about before, talk about power skill, including collaborative leadership. A leader that can lead a team that are collaborative, that are united. They are jointly working together. They work jointly with others to achieve a specific task, to achieve a common goal. That's a collaborative leadership. If you lead without a team that are not collaborative, some member of the team will follow one direction, other team member will follow another direction. You can see your team member, they are going about 3 or 4 directions. They don't understand one another. That team cannot be productive. They are working in a way that it does not allow the team to move forward. So you can see it is very important for you. And there's no, if you are going to make your team to collaborate, your communication must be very effective. When you communicate information, communicate idea, communicating report, communicating document. Communication go with collaboration. Then you, as a leader, you should have that innovative mindset, ability to be creative, innovative, looking things from outside the box. When you need to make decision, critical critical decision making. So your brain should be stand and start working with your team member. Then for purpose of orientations and empathy, these are the different types of communicate skills. For purpose orientation, how do you orientate your team member? Assuming that they are in the, you just form the team member. How do you orientate them? So this is a new environment. You might be coming from a background that is quite different from what you are doing here. How do you give them a proper reorientation so that they can be able to focus and do the needful and be able to create something that will deliver value or outcome, a better outcome in your project? And part of the interpersonal skills was empathy. We are human beings. We pass through a lot of stress. There are a lot of challenges, both internal challenges and outside challenges. Don't say because they're my team member, we are paying them, the stakeholder are paying them, then therefore you just treat them anyhow. We are human being of feeling. Sometimes your team member can have accident, can lose one member of his family. Something that is unforeseen can happen that can be so painful. The same way, you need to have what they call empathy. Put yourself in the place of that person. If I have to be in this position, how will I feel? So you feel for that person. That's how you carry your team along. Empathy. Feel for them. They might be passing through some challenges or family challenges. Yes, you need to help them. Sometimes you need to do some counseling. Counsel them, coach them, bear with them. You understand me? All those things, this was empathy. The team with this skill can maintain influence with a variety of stakeholders. Because if you are able to do this one, your team member can also collaborate well with the stakeholder. A critical component for making change. If your team member and you and the stakeholder, they are on the same page, you see, in fact, people say sky is the limit. In fact, not only sky is the limit. Sky is your stepping stone to achieve your project objectives. So you should have that. Then what are the guidelines for developing inclusive leadership competencies? That is for your own now. And for your team member, because your team member too, you assign work to them. You assign somebody under them today, they are going to lead. So you need to tailor your leadership approach and style. We have different kind of leadership. We have democratic leadership. We have autocratic leadership. We have different kind of them. But before you can apply a particular style, you have to look at your team member, the characteristic of your team member, the type of project you are doing, the nature of the project you are doing, whether complex or not complex, the method you are using to carry out your project, your methodology you are using. Are you using waterfall methodology? Are you using what they call um, what do you call that? If you don't use waterfall methodology, we are using a change-driven methodology. You lead with empathy. So when you are leading or you factor all these things and know the type of leadership approach you are going to apply to that project. You must lead with empathy. That's a part of the leadership characteristic. A good leader should have empathy to his team member, for his team member. You must understand that motivations and working style. Do you know that motivation can help your team member to be more productive? You inspire them, you encourage them, you help them, you push them, you encourage them. You understand me? Those are the motivation, things that can help them to be able to increase their performance. That you maintain a transparency and openness to build trust. Your team member, that should what they call trust. Everything should be transparent. Everybody should know what each other one is doing. Everybody should know where we are now. We are the level of the progress of our project. Everybody should know where you are going to get the information. Everybody should know that okay, this is a place whereby if you want to go and get information, everybody should know. Nothing should be denied. Everything should be open. Everybody should be on the same page. Those are the characteristics of a leader. Competencies you have. Transparency. no lack of integrity. Everything is open. You should generate trust. We should trust one another. That should be a characteristic of a good leader who is leading a team. There's a trust. If there's mistrust, something will be hidden. Therefore, it will impede the progress and the function of our project. You should be able to ensure external resources are included. Sometimes there are some resources that is required to do the work of your project. They are not available inside your organization. You should get like a vendor. Okay, how do you get this thing so that we can focus on the work of the project? You can get the resources outside. Maybe your team member, you cannot get them inside your organization. How do you go outside your organization and hire that a professional who can fit into your project outside your organization? These are very important. Look at the leadership skills and competencies. All this one, I don't need to explain them. I've explained them before. Communication. How do you communicate effectively and efficiently in your project? How do you manage conflict? Conflict management. How do you do critical thinking? You remember that as a project manager, you are a solution provider. The outcome of your project is a solution to the need of the organization, to the need of the customer, to the need of the end user. There is a problem, there must be solution. Therefore, you and your team member want to provide solution to a problem or problems. Therefore, to be able to do that one, you need to make it, you are able to do what they call critical thinking. Think outside the box. Think innovatively. Think creatively. Think in a way whereby things that has not been done before, you now have it. How do you go about it? They say if there's a wall in front of you, if you cannot climb it, go around it. If you cannot go around it, climb it. If you cannot climb it, loop a hole. If you cannot do that one, put a step in it, and from the step, arrange a particular thing and climb over it. Think on how I can solve this problem. Think innovatively. Gather your team member together. Do brainstorming section. Brainstorm. Look at it from left, from the right, from the top, from down. Look at the different way you can come about and providing solution. Critical thinking. You need to make decision. And when you are doing your project, when you are making decision, there are a lot of decisions you will make. You will make the right decision that will move your project forward. Make the right decision that can favor your team member. Make the right decision that can make your team member to be more effective in what they are doing. You need to also to understand the cultural awareness. Culture, very important. You may have in your team, you are leading, the team you are leading, they may come from different background, different they may speak different languages, different culture, different belief, different way of seeing things. Those are culture. The culture in Yoruba land is quite different from the culture in Benin or Igbo land or a Chinese. There may be a culture awareness that what is done in different culture, you need to be aware of them. But we call something cultural chalk, cultural chalk. Because you may be working in a particular culture, there are certain things you will do or you see them doing. They are eating lizard here. It can shock you because they eat lizard. There are some country they don't eat for example, if you go to India, they are part of the India, they don't eat what they call a cow. Cow is their god. They call it god. If you are now doing have a team member, maybe you are working, you are a project manager leading a team member in India, you cannot just go and say this, I want to go and kill cow. You are killing their god. Cultural shock. They will be doing certain things, will shock you. In Nigeria, where I was coming from, I lead a team. Everybody eat cow. You eat meat. Yeah, you are worshiping a cow. You are wasting it. It will shock you. Those are the example of cultural shock. Or they may be doing certain things there that can shock you, which you don't do in your culture. You are a leader. You need to know this, study it, and know. You look at the environment, make decision. You don't need to have what they call emotional intelligence technique. Emotional intelligence. How do you react to situation? How do you respond to situation? When people speak to you, how do you take in such a way that you don't allow you to your emotion need to override you? such a way that you do something that is not supposed to do. You also need to talk about ethical approach, and that is why PMI, you need to go to their site and look at the PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. As a project manager, when you are qualified, what are the things you should do, you should not do, your integrity level. Do you understand me? You should be responsible for your decision you make. You should not discriminate. You see the full conduct and the code of PMI, Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct, because you are representing PMI. And if you do something contrary to the Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct, you'll be sanctioned. And you may be painting the name of the PMI black in wherever you are doing. For example, when I say Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct, if your organization say that as a project manager, your organization is managing project for another company, but the policy of your organization is that you must not collect a gift that is more than 10,000 naira from from this client, or you must not collect a gift at all. Maybe the client saw the way you are working, and they discover that maybe next week is your birthday, and they are now planning that they are going to give you a car for your birthday, not because of anything, not because they bribe them or any bribe. They are so much impressed about the outcome of your project or the progresses you are making your project. So in that case now, they have told you ahead that we are going to give you a brand new car because you so impress us. The progress you are making in this project is fantastic. We love it. And this is your project. We want to compensate you. But you remember your company has told you that you cannot receive a gift more than 10,000. Will you receive it? If you receive it, you are that is a case of ethics. You are going against the code of ethics and professional conduct, or you are collecting bribe, or you must be able to look at the law of a country, law of a city. The law of a company override your project. So you have to obey the law of the country before you can say you want to do about your project. If the law of a country say that you must not do a project between so day, you cannot do it. There are a lot of them you need to read about. Don't discriminate. Don't say this is my this my team member is it came from Yoruba land, and when there's a conflict you want to support him. No, you have to be neutral. There are a lot of things you are going to do under that. So ethical approach. When you are giving money to do the work of the project, maybe you are giving 1 million to go and look for a particular resources. Maybe you are sourcing it by yourself. You now reach the market. The amount of the thing is about 900,000. And when you read there, by the time you purchase that item for your project, the person selling to you say, how much do you want me to put into the receipt to write as a receipt? And you bought something 900 naira, 900,000. I say, you now tell the person put 1,500,000. That's the case of ethics. Then look at the expert judgment. Sometimes you need to hire experts, get expert opinion. It's part of leadership. What you cannot have, you can get a expert or like a consultant. Get their opinion that can help you to the area that you are not too much competent about. How do you facilitate? A lot of time you'll be doing a lot of facilitation. That is why agile methodology and scrum methodology is so important. Your team member, you don't lord it over them, you don't control them, you don't give them command. You allow them, you allow them to organize themselves. We say your team member should be what? Cross-functional team and self-organized team and self-disciplined team. Only thing you are doing, you are only facilitating them. Help them to do the right thing. Help them to meet and think and make decisions by themselves, because they are the people who are going to do the work of the project. So the decision they will make, facilitate decision and provide a good environment for them to work, encourage them, motivate them, push them forward, and help them to make decisions that bring out good results for them. Facilitation. Even in the meeting, you facilitate it. You are a facilitator. You are a servant leader. You are not a autocratic leader. Uh-huh. Even during the meeting management, how do you manage meeting so that you don't waste time? Because you are under a deadline when you are doing project. How do you make sure that the meeting is facilitated very well? in such a way that the meeting will bring out a good output that can improve the value of your project. How do you negotiate for resources? How do you negotiate among the team member? Even during the conflict, you negotiate. How do you build your team? Team building, very important. Can see. So what are the interpersonal and team skills? Active listening. Be able to listen effectively. It's very important when you are communicating. It's only that you are talking and talking and talking, or somebody is talking with you. In your own mind, and let me just finish talking. Let me just respond. The person listening will listen actively. You have idea, you get the whole picture, the big picture of what he's saying, big idea, what he's trying to communicate to you. Because those what you want to communicate with you may be very important in your activity, the work assigned to you. Active listening, communication style assessment. That's a part of the thing you do in when you are talking about communication management. When you plan your communication management, you say what style are you using? You assess it. Will this style help me, my team member? Do you understand me? You assess the communication style to see whether that communication style is working in your team setting. You have emotional intelligence. How do you control your emotion? How do you help other people to control their emotion? Because we are human being, you can get annoyed, and where you don't curtail it, it can lead to fightings, and you're not supposed to be in a business setting. How do you influence your team member? They are looking at you. If they respect you, maybe you are skillful, you are doing the right thing, you are influencing them by you are modeling your character. How do you motivate them? How do you encourage them? How do you push them forward? Even when they are tired, there's a way you need to motivate them. How you going to use what they call nominal group techniques? That is when you gather them together, you be able to gather information necessary, do successful meeting. You also need to look at the political awareness. Everywhere there's politics, internal policies. Look at your organization. We have internal politics. We have external politics. Inside your organization, there's a lot of political work going on. You need to be aware of them. Otherwise, it will frustrate you. Transparency. As a team, there must be transparency. Everything will be open. Do you understand me? If there's no openness, there will be mistrust. There will be the problem of trust. When there's a problem of trust, you know what it means? Nothing will work well. Look at the leader. You need to know about leadership. Leadership style. You must tailor your leadership to your team setting. That's why what you are seeing here. I say style and characteristic. Direct style. They are called hierarchical project manager making all decision. That's a direct. That is we call it. That is not democratic. It's autocratic. That's autocratic. Consultative. As a leader, you consult your team member. Though you are going to carry out the decision, you have to consult them first. Have you ever had in Nigeria when the politician in Nigeria they want to come out to vie for a particular post? You see, I've gone to consult with Oba, consult with the governors, consult with the people in my village, consult with them, every person. After you are consulting with them, you get their input from them, then you now make decision whether you want to continue. So consultative leadership. That's the same thing as you are managing your project. You look at the style of leadership. Does it suit your team member, your team setting? Very important for your success. A consultative style is leader factors in opinion but makes the decision. If it's a servant leadership, this one is the best. Leader model desired behavior. That's what I mean. He does not lead, he lead by example, but he does not lord it over the people. He allow the people, he just facilitate them, he coach them, he mentor them. You understand me? So leader model desire behavior. Then if you want your team member to have a high level of integrity, you yourself must have the nature of integrity in you. You should have element of integrity. There's a style, consensus or collaborative style. This means team operates autonomously. There's a situational style. Style changes to fit a context and maturity and experience of the team. A situation can occur happen, then you can adapt your style to that situation. So you must tailor it. So that's what I'm saying, that Based on your team setting, you have to change your style based on that. So experience with the project type. So your project type will determine the kind of style you are going to use. Your team member maturity will determine the style you are going to use. The organizational governance structure of your organization will determine the kind of style you are going to use. You have an organogram of your organization. At the strategic level organization, the kind of policy they are making, the kind of decision they are making, objectives and goal, strategy they crafted will determine the kind of style you are going to use to manage your project. If you have a distributed project team, that means a team that are not working in the same geographical area, the style you are going to use to lead them or manage them will be different from the one who are co-located. Very important. Then the PMI want you to understand the difference between a leadership and management. That is why it's very important. What a leadership is about guiding the team by using discussion and exchange of idea. A good leader has vision, he has mission, he has what you want to achieve, he has goal. So to achieve that goal, you need to carry the team member, the follower along, because you cannot do the work alone. So you carry them along after sharing idea, making everybody to aware of what is happening in the project. Then he carry them, he set the vision for them, and they work together to achieve that vision and goal. But management is quite different. You are directing, do this, do that, do this. Directing action using a prescribed set of behavior. So part of it will be what? Adapt leadership style to situation and stakeholder. You need to understand how to do that one. Whether you are doing management or you are doing leadership, you have to adapt that leadership style to the situation and the stakeholder that are involved in the project. You have to be aware of the individual and team aim. What Because even in your team, each individual in your team has his own goal in life. How do you help that person to align the goal to the goal of the team? How do you make sure that your leadership style will make you to be aware of individual and team aim and working relationship, so that your team member aim and the project aim will not come there will not be conflict? How do you use political awareness and emotional intelligence? Those are different kind of style. If you look at it, if you can look at this slide very well, who can read this one for us? Can you read it? Can anybody read this one for us? Can you read this area for us? Because very important. I want you to read it. If you observe, they put asterisk. I can
Servant leader.
Okay. Can you read it?
Facilitate rather than manage.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, continue.
Provide coaching and training.
Good. And what?
Remove work and impediments.
Good. Next.
Focus on accomplishments.
Why?
Encourage every team members to be a servant leader.
Leader. See, can you see this one? Servant leadership, they put asterisk star into it. Mark it down too. When you reach agile methodology and scrum methodology, a scrum master should have this. They have used that methodology before. That methodology as a leader in that methodology. They have used it, and it makes the team to be more productive. That means as a servant leader, you don't lord it over your team member. You are facilitator. You don't impose your own decision on them. Allow them to gather together, facilitate the meeting, and allow them to make decisions that can help them to be able to do the work that you have assigned to them. That's what I mean. It's important for you to know this one, because there's a way they will craft the question. If you don't understand all these points, you'll be thrown off. A leader, a servant leader, it does not lord it over the team member. It does not control them anyhow. What it does is to allow them to make decisions by themselves, among themselves, because they are the one who are going to do the work of the project, to make decisions that will suit them, to help them, enhance them, and give them opportunity to do the work very well. So you are facilitating rather than managing them. If you are doing traditional way of doing project management, what a project manager is doing is what is managing them. He give them instruction. he 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 direct them, he control them anyhow, he even discipline them, he can withdraw them anyhow. No, your team member will not be able to produce more if you are doing like that. That is why in that methodology like agile and scrum, you facilitate. Number two, provide coaching and training. If you discover that their level of skill is not high, you should recommend coaching and training for them. Train them, improve their skill, improve their ability to be able to do work assigned to them. Remove work impediment. If you look at the environment they are working, if they need any particular tool or a particular tool will not allow them to be more efficient, maybe archaic tools, archaic technology, you remove it. Or any disturbance or any impediment, anything that will not allow them to do the work very well, they are called impediment. Impediment can be in any form. It is a servant leader, a leader who is a servant leader that help the team to remove those impediments so that the team can focus on what are necessary, what are important for them to accomplish the project objectives. Focus on accomplishment. Your focus, help them to focus on accomplishment. In a team setting, there may be conflict. That conflict will not allow them to focus. They'll be focusing on one another. He didn't greet me in this point when he comes. He didn't dress, their dress, it even dress safe. When he's working on working, he's dragging his foot on the ground. Those are you are focusing on yourself. He said that a good leader will allow the team member to focus on what the objectives and the goal of the project. That's how I mean. You should allow them to focus on that. Don't focus on things that are not important. There are some things that are not important in a team setting that can damage our project. Then you encourage every team member to be a servant leader. So you model your behavior too. Help your team member. You are not doing competition. All of us we are working collaboratively and do the work assigned to us to be able to achieve our project objective. If I have a problem, you help me. If you have a problem, I will help you. Your problem is my problem. My problem is your problem. In fact, if anybody make mistake, all the whole team member make mistake. If you are successful, everybody is successful. Nobody need to be blamed. If the one person make mistake, it affect the project. All the whole team member, that's it. Since I know that if this man make mistake, it's going to affect everybody. So I will craft a way of helping him. If he have a challenges in the assignment, in the work assigned to him, I will help him. That's the one I mean by that. You be a servant leader, help your team member, help everybody help one another. Everybody, your problem is my problem. Your problem is my problem. That's what he's saying here now. If you don't have that kind of a mindset, you cannot lead a team. Remember, we're talking about leading your team. You cannot lead your team if you don't have that mindset. Another thing you need to know about is adopt a growth mindset. Everybody what they call know by growth mindset. A mindset that is growing. Can somebody read this one for us again? When I say to read it, you see asterisk. What is it saying? It means that this area is very important in your exam. It's very important in your practice. Can you read it? Can somebody able to read growth, adopt a growth mindset? What does it mean? Hello, who can help us? Nobody. I want to help you, but I can speak.
Okay, adopt a growth mindset.
What does it? I read it for us.
Let past experience and processes provide guidance for, but not dictate your actions.
Action. That's a growth mindset. I can learn from my experience, learn processes, the past processes. I can use historical information of the project I've done in the past. It can help me to do the project I'm doing now, especially if the right project I'm doing now is similar to the one that I've done before. But he said you should not allow that past experience to dictate your action. Do you understand me? Now, there are some experience in the past that will not help you to be able to what? to make a right decision now. There are some experience in the past that can help and guide you to do what you are supposed to do now. Have you ever heard about historical information and lesson learned? Historical information means that
Yeah.
I have done something in the past. I've finished a project in the past. I've done it successfully, and the organization of my client assigned another project for me that look like that. So you see now, it means that that thing I've done in the past can help me now to do what I'm going to do now. That means I don't need to reinvent the wheel. If I want to do plan my course, plan my schedule, and do the risk analysis, do the resource I'm going to use. I've done similar thing before. It's going to help me. That's a growth mindset. I say, I've done that one. I don't need to do that one. So you're reducing resources, you're reducing cost, you're reducing time. You be able to manage your project very well. You have a template, different kind of templates you have used in the past. Use it for this template because what you are doing now will help. It's similar to what you have done before. So you are not reinventing the wheel. You are leveraging the your past experience on the present project. You commit to continuous improvement. Yeah. A good mindset, a good growth mindset, what does he do? He leverages on what? He want to improve. You cannot say, I've reached the highest ladder. I've reached the top of my career. This is the best thing I can produce. No, you keep on innovative, keep on being innovative, creative, working outside the box. This is how you can improve. You must have done something in the past screen of your project, the past sprint. You look at it, you do retrospection and say, okay, which way can I now even improve more on what I'm doing now? Because improvement is a journey. You can never say you have reached the top ladder. I mean, the top of your accomplishment in life. No. So your perspective should be that in life is a journey. Continual improvement is a journey. There's no point in life whereby I say, I've achieved everything. Therefore, I will not say, let me be sit down. No, that's the characteristic of a good leader. The same thing that you are doing, you're also suggesting it to your team member. Your team member should be able to say that, okay, what we do today, we can improve on it in the next sprint. What we do tomorrow, we are going to do tomorrow. We can improve it on the next tomorrow. I want to use that language like that. So you discover the best approach through discussion and introspection. You don't make a rational decision yourself. I'm the leader. Whatever I say is the final. Get opinion from your team member. Discuss. If you have done something, you can do what they call introspection. We have done something before. You can think ahead. We look at what other people have done before. Look at what other project manager in other organization have done before. Look at what they are doing. Do a benchmarking so that you can improve. Then avoid complacency. Complacency means that I have achieved. I'll be able to say maybe you have I want to give an example. What I mean by complacency. You will set a goal that this is my goal from January to December. This is what I want to achieve, or I want to be saving. I want to save about 2 million in within a year. Then before the year run out, you have saved already. Maybe by November, you have saved and 2 million you plan to save. Then you say, I've arrived. You just relax, begin to spend the money. You don't want to continue to save again. That we call complacency. You need to improve on that one. You set another goal again. I want to be saving. I want to save even 3 million. You keep on doing it. The same thing in your project. Don't be complacent. Whatever you have done now, however good it is, you can improve on it. And don't avoid bland acceptance. Bland acceptance. Somebody can make a suggestion to you because the person can make a suggestion in the past. You don't verify it. You don't validate it. You just go into action. Do it like that. That's a bland acceptance. That's why you might growth mindset. A growth mindset is a positive mindset. You want to move forward. You want to be creative, innovative, committed to objectives and go. Grow. Or if you say a non-growth mindset, that one you say I've arrived. You don't want to increase your knowledge. You don't want to read more. You don't want to acquire more knowledge. You don't want to acquire more skill. You don't want to improve. That's what it means. That's the work a leader should do. So you can see now, if you want to lead a team who are going to do the work of the project, don't just say, I just want to lead them. Oh. If you don't have all these characteristics, it's going to affect you. Team building, I don't need to, I can't overemphasize this one. Your team member who you are going to work with, you need to build them up. You need to have what they call cohesive and a strong team. You understand me? Who can be able to perform perform well in the team in the project work. So your team building could be what? Cohesion and solidarity help team perform better. Part of the team building is what? Good leadership facilitate bonding between project team member. Bond your team together. When you say a team is bonded, that means they are working like a family. Though they are not a blood family, but that bonding you create, there's a different way you can do a bonding within your team. And when you look at them, are they family? The way they laugh, if they smile, if anything happens to one of them, it's like everybody's affected. They are so like a family that if you draw one person, other person are drawn. If you beat one of them, other people feel that they are being beaten. Bonding, it made them to be more productive. You can create other team building activities. There are a lot of team building activities that can help your team member to be united, to trust one another. Can create like empathy and focus on the team over the individual. You understand me? They can be what? Then team building activity can be formal or informal. It can be brief. It can be extended. You sometimes you need to facilitate it so that I can be able to build a effective team, a team that is more effective, productive. You understand me? It can be facilitated by you or a professional facilitator. So look at this. Remember we have talked about this before. There's one man who propagated this theory that the man is called Tuckman. They call him Dr. Bruce Tuckman. He said if you gather a team together, a team, your team member who are going to do the work of your project, you are the one leading the team who are going to do the work of the project. If you want them to be productive, you understand me? You want them to you want your project to have a quality outcome. You want your project to be productive. You see, you should pay attention to these top man stages of team development. You see, the stages are what? Forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. When you gather team together, team member, when they meet, they are not likely to quickly trust one another. You'll be suspecting because if you meet together, I cannot begin to tell you my secret. And when you have a team member coming together, we'll be suspecting one another. They are just trying to begin to trust one another here. When you form the next stage, there will be storming. Storming simply means that something that can be a problem to the team, conflict within the team. You see, in the storming area, team members begin to assert themselves and take control of the emerging issue. This is where you see a lot of things will play here. For example, you are coming from different background of project management. You are coming from different you speak different language, different culture, different company who have handled different projects. And when you now bring them together, somebody say, I've done this work, the work we are doing now, I have about 9 year experience. You, how many experience have you gotten? So everybody will making suggestion. Everybody will try to assert themselves. Somebody want to take control because we have different characters, different way of seeing things, the different folk, different way of perspectives of looking at things. That thing we can bring storming in because in this case, they are new team member. They are not get used to one another. So when they are making decision, we cannot just make a decision and everybody just follow your decision. So there will be storming. Then the next thing is called norming. Team begin to work productively. They are not working productively, but they are beginning to work productively. But for them to work productively, it means that a project manager who is very skillful, if he discover that they are going to be a storm because of a certain issue, he should be able to manage that conflict. Then they begin to work productively. When I say they begin, mean that they are about to start working productively after they have come out of storm, conflict, and without worrying about personal acceptance or control issue. That is what happened in this place. Issue can come because of your, you say, don't speak your language here. Speak English and official language. When you are working, don't be dragging your foot on the ground. And when you are dressing, you know that kind of a thing. I'm just giving you example. Now, those are the what they call personal issue. Once they be able to overcome that, you see, this is the break, the food you are eating. I don't like the aroma. I'm just giving you an example what can happen in team setting. Those are the personal issue. But when they begin to numb, that means they are not worrying about personal acceptance. Whether you accept me or not accept me, it doesn't matter. Let's say I'm in Batik, but it doesn't matter. When I say I'm an Inna, it doesn't. I'm an Igbo Inna, it doesn't matter. Whatever name you call me, or control issue, begin to. Then the best one in exam, the best one, the worst one is the storming. The best one is the performing. It depends on the skill of the project manager. He can be able to adapt the team member so that he can lead them to a performing stage. Team is working at optimum productivity and is collaborating easily. That's what you want to can see. Whenever you see um, productivity, you will see collaboration, you will see communication running freely. That is this is a place whereby it depends on the project manager. If it's a good project manager who have the a good interpersonal skill, here you can apply it. When it comes to this area, it's working. Team is working at optimum productivity. That's the essence of your project. We should be able to produce something is an alignment with our project objectives. And we cannot do it until we are able to collaborate. And collaboration cannot take place until you are able to communicate freely in an efficient manner, in an effective manner. Then solve his own conflict. The team member, they are not even complaining. If they have a conflict, they don't even need anybody again because they are cross-functional team, self-organized team. They can easily solve the problem and they will perform very well. And they lead to what? Higher productivity. After that stage, they will adjourn. Team member complete their assigned work and shift to the next project or assigned task. Know this. You have to know this. Go to your textbook and write it down in case you want to sit for the exam. Stages a team pass through. This is part of the development. Forming, storming, numbing, performing, and adjourning. Then you need to balance the team tone with sense of urgency. Now, when you are communicating to your team member, there's a way you communicate effectively. There's a way you don't communicate effectively. That your communication will not be productive. So you will use what? Look at tone and urgency. It's good for you to have a sense of urgency when you are doing your project. You also need to communicate your project, but your communication should be a fluid communication. Communication in such a way that you are communicating effectively and efficiently, and you are only communicating very well when you say you are engaging. If I'm engaging you, I need to communicate well with you. And if you have a fluid communication, it will promote positive interaction. Urgency, you emphasize the project vision and value. In fact, as a project manager, you should be dangling the vision and the value of the project in the eye in the front of your project team. Then you need to commit to and be accountable for delivering the value. So you allow the team member to be committed. Then you are accountable to the outcome of the project delivery. If the project fail, you are responsible. You are responsible and accountable. You need to envision the team as active participant in delivering the organization strategic vision. Project manager, as a leader, you have a lot of things to do. You set the vision of the project, the vision of the organization, the strategic vision to your team member. If you don't give them the vision, if you assign work to them, you discover that what they are doing will not be aligned, will not be in alignment with the organizational strategic vision or objective. So as a project manager, it's not a cheap work. It's a work that should be done by a man who is trained, who know what he's doing, who is creative, who is innovative, who can think ahead, who can know how to manage people in communication, who know how to engage, who know how to collaborate. You have a lot of skill. That's what we are talking about here. Look at the visual team member engagement. Sometimes the team member who will be working your project, they may not be co-located. They are working from different area. They are geographically distributed. How do you engage with them? They are part of your team. You assign work to them. But due to their geography, where they are staying, you cannot see them face to face. How do you manage them? Remember, you are leading a team. How do you lead them? So manage engagement by focusing on what? Team dynamics, transparency, accountability, attention to effective communication. You will use and adapt video conferencing tool. This is where technology will have to be very useful to you. You can use video conferencing. I can see you, you can see me, you can communicate, you can share idea, I can assign work to you. You can even show me something you are doing. You can tell me where you are. Do some all those things, video conferencing, or you can use audio conferencing too. You can check for active participation. You can assess body language and tone. Look at the picture here now. If you are doing meeting, or you are sharing information or data, if you are smiling, if you frown your face, or you behave one way or the other, that's a body language. I can know. I can even know whether you have a problem. We are not together. You have to check for active participation. Excuse me. Check for active participation. You assess body language and tone, the way you speak things. There's a tone you use to speak, to communicate. I can factor out. I can know that you are not comfortable. There's something happen around your side, even though I'm not there. You enable visibility of work and work status with tools. We talk about Kanban board. Through the Kanban board, everything you are doing will be visible. If I show the Kanban board to everybody in the video conferencing, this is what we are planning to do. This is what we are doing now. This is what we are work in progress. This is what we have accomplished. That's what we are talking about here. If your team members are not in the same geographical area, the way you are going to manage them is different from a co-located team. That's what we're talking about here. What are the visual team best practice? Number one, manage the risk of feeling isolated. Yes, somebody is working from Canada for you in your project. He may be in his or her room. Such a case, that person may be feeling lonely. He may not be feel motivated. Maybe he has a cold, or he's sick that day, or anything. He's isolated, lonely. That's a feeling. Everybody has a feeling. How do you manage such a thing? It's a risk to your project. If he's sick, or you need to go to hospital, how do you manage it? You're using a drug. That drug has some element of alcohol. You make him to be drowsy, and he's working with the machine. How do you manage it? So, visual team best practice. Manage risk of feeling isolated, focus on shared commitment and team goals versus individual accomplishment. But somebody is working alone, he may be doing something that's not in alignment with the team goal. So you need to refocus that person to know that you are not there. Oh, you are working for us. We are giving you our a shared vision of what you want to do. Make sure that you are doing that. And how do you do that one? Reporting. You should be sending reports regularly to know whether that person is meeting the deadline or working according to it. Then you also instill a sense of shared commitment. Everybody will be committed. That as we are committed here, other person from Canada, from the US, from Nigeria, we are committed. We are doing the same thing, so we are working to a common goal. That sense of shared commitment should be instilled. For this. So that's what we have just done here. What I just talk about here now, when you are leading a team, you should be one, value servant leadership, relate to the tenets of the servant leadership to the team. We have talked about what the characteristics of a servant leader. He help the team, he motivate them, he assist them, he help them to carry water, he provide food for them, he encourage them, he doesn't lord over them, he facilitate them, he remove impediment from their way so that they can focus on what they are doing and focus and do it very well. You understand me? He provide resources for them to do the work. He help them to remove and reduce their pain. Allow them to focus on the thing they're supposed to do. Then we also talk about determining an appropriate leadership style, whether direct leadership or collaborative leadership, or you are going to lord it over them. Is it democratic or autocratic? Whichever you are going to use, look at your team setting. Which one will you have to style it according to your team setting. There are some teams that you cannot use collaborative. Sorry, you cannot use direct way of. You have to look at other style to use based on that team setting. You need to distinguish various options to lead various team member and stakeholder. Then engage and support the virtual team. For example, those are things we are just learning now. Let us have just 5 minute break. I'm sorry, why I'm taking you, I'm 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 trying to eat because I want to eat, and I don't want to use hunger to be delivery. I know it's not professional. You're not professional, but I need to also take permission from you. Let me just quickly within 5 minutes. I'll just eat, then continue. You agree with me? You
I think
agree?
we should
Yes.
do let's have 10 minutes. I
Okay.
want to eat as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. What about the other people?
We are fine. You have to hit. You need energy.
Yeah, thank you very much. I love that. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.